Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of the Alpha Podcast, the show where we talk about the hottest topics in pop culture and sports. I want to take this time to say I am sorry for being absent this week. I've had a sickness, as you could probably tell and hear in my voice, that I have been dealing with since Saturday. It came out of nowhere. I was getting prepped and ready for you guys. I went out and saw Captain America Brave New World last Friday. And, surprisingly, I had some interesting things to say about that. All-Star Weekend did occur this week. So I've had a lot of things planned that I've been wanting to do. Today is Thursday. It probably will be Friday by the time you guys see this. And I could not wait to get on the microphone and talk with you guys. I'm so sorry for that delay. Didn't know it was going to happen, but we are here. I'm still not 100%. My voice still sounds a little clunky and not clean, but it was a whole lot better than what it has the last couple of weeks. Again, thank you guys for joining me, and let's get on to the show. If you do, please be sure to hit that like button on the video and to tap the notification bell and subscribe to the channel. Now, we are going to get straight into it. We are going to talk about All-Star Weekend. Now, I think the first thing was the skills challenge, and it was very interesting. I don't never watch the skills challenge. I think Draymond Green done it for the first time since like 2016. I think it was the Golden State Warriors team, and then you had the Spurs, and then there was another team. I want to say it was Cleveland with Donovan Mitchell and them. I cannot quite remember, but they were in the skills challenge, and Wemby and Chris Paul tried to dupe the NBA and trying to make it to seem where they were. The objective of the skills challenge is to try and get it in the shortest amount of time. I think Chris Paul and Wemby took that very literal, and instead of trying to make the shots, they just threw the ball up in the air and essentially got it in a shorter amount of time, significantly than everybody else. And then the NBA ended up disqualifying them, which is not shocking because it was bad for the brand, but it was something interesting, something cool, and I applaud them for trying something that was outside of the box. Then moving on to the three-point contest, Tyler Hero ended up winning it, and obviously it's something that the fans enjoy a lot more now since the slam dunk contest is very anemic. And I can say the three-point contest wasn't that interesting to me. Damian Lillard was the star going into the three-point contest. He's won it the last 2 years, and he was looking forward to a three-peat. He ended up getting knocked out in the first round. I think moving on to the second round was Buddy Hield, Tyler Hero, I want to say Darius Garland, and somebody else. I cannot remember the fourth person. But at the end of the day, it was okay. I mean, it was entertaining. Buddy Hield he set a record. He was the second highest or the highest since Steph Curry in the dunk contest. I keep saying the dunk contest, my bad. The three-point contest and the most threes made in the three-point contest. It was interesting, but Buddy Hield and Tyler Hero faced off in the final round, and Tyler Hero ended up going out on top because Buddy Hield the flame went out for him in the last round. Overall, it was fun. And then shockingly, we get to the slam dunk contest, which was fantastic in my opinion. I wouldn't say fantastic. I think it's a little too far-fetched, but I think McClung single-handedly has saved the dunk contest the last couple years. He got the three-peat, the first time it's ever happened in NBA history. And he's caused some uproar. Guys like Aaron Gordon's been on Twitter. Ja Morant. I don't have the tweets up, but I noticed significantly. You had people like Ja Morant, Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine, Giannis Antetokounmpo, all the big stars in the NBA is like, man, I've seen what Matt McClung has done, and it's making me want to actually try and do the do the slam dunk contest. And it's a good thing to see. I think Matt McClung put the NBA stars on notice and just noticing how well they can do the dunk contest, because Matt McClung got a 50 on each dunk. The very first dunk, he came out and jumped over Ikea. Flashback to Blake Griffin, I think, back in 2011. So he done a great job. He got a 50 on every dunk. Every dunk was great. His final dunk, he did it between the legs, jumping over somebody and slamming the ball. Well, he didn't do it between the legs. He jumped over a tall person, slammed two balls at the same time. The second dunk, I think he did jump. He jumped over somebody. All his dunks were very good. And shout out, again, I got to give this guy credit. I don't know the dude's name. He actually was in the Rising Stars portion of the game. He played for the San Antonio Spurs. I don't remember the guy's name, and I don't feel like looking it up. But that you know who I'm talking about. He done an exceptional job as well. I really think he got fleeced in a couple of his dunks, especially for the second it was his first dunk in the final round. He didn't get a 50. I thought it was a 50-worthy dunk. And I think those two really uplifted the dunk contest. And they made it pretty interesting. I can't lie. I think This is the first dunk contest in the last 4 or 5 years, maybe since COVID, that I've really enjoyed. It was a pretty good watch. I actually sat and watched the whole thing. Obviously, now I have to sit and watch the whole thing because of you guys. And again, guys, please excuse me if my voice is not the best. I can hear it in my throat that my voice is not as clear as it needs to be, but we're here for you guys, and I'm going to do this video for you, and I've been eager to get on the microphone and talk about these topics, but the dunk contest is still not the best. I still think it needs some stars. It needs some work. I just think getting four guys, you had a guy that played for Chicago. You had a kid who played for the Bucks. Two of them you've never heard of. And obviously the final kid who played for the Spurs, you've never heard of him either. That's the reason why I can't even remember their names, because they were nobodies. And I think the NBA, they have to force the NBA stars to want to participate in the slam dunk contest. It's just bad for their product. It's bad for their brand. And I think what Matt McClung has done, even though he's been on a G League, it's frustrating to know that a player like Matt McClung, who has had a different jersey on each slam dunk contest, is out there competing in the slam dunk contest, and he's putting on a show for the fans. He done a lot better dunks this year than what he has done in the past 2 years. And he just kept one-upping it each time. He's been getting money from the NBA for participating, and I want to take this time to applaud Adam Silver for even doing that for Matt McClung and giving him money. And the slam dunk contest was okay. The judges did a good job judging. We know what happened the last couple of years back in 2016, specifically when Dwayne Wade and them were judging, and they were screwing Aaron Gordon over. And so it was good, well judged. Even though I think they were pulling for Matt McClung to get that three-peat just for NBA history reasons. But I can say overall the judging was great, and I think the product Saturday night was a whole lot better than what it has been in the past. Now, moving on to Sunday night, the big game. So they went for a new format. So we had 4 different teams. You had Team Shaq, Team Kenny, Team Chuck, and Team Ernie. Or Team Candace Parker, rather. Sorry. And they were playing to 40. And it was 4 different teams. You had 2 semifinals, and then you had the final. And I can't congratulate the league on this. What I liked about it was that it was more competitive than it has been the last couple of years. The last couple of years, the All-Star game has been unwatchable. It has been truly unwatchable. Players have not been trying hard. They've been out there just shooting half-court shots, shooting threes, not playing any defense, just no competitiveness at all. So Adam Silver went upon the liberty to change the format again this year, and I kind of clapped back on it there for the first when I first heard it. This is before I even really knew the whole details behind it. And I didn't start the podcast, and I don't really watch a lot of NBA now, to be quite honest with you. So I didn't really want to talk about it, but I watched it, and I had a pretty decently fun time watching it. And I enjoyed the format somewhat to a certain degree. What I think, if the NBA wants to keep this format, I think what they should do, honestly, is play more of a street ball style. I think that's what they were going for, but play more the pickup style street ball. But make them play to 11 and play 4 best out of 3 or best out of 4. So if you win 2 games, I wouldn't say best out of 3, just in case if they both win, you know, if you win the first 2, best out of 3, best 2 out of 3. I think that's the best method you could do. I think it would do a great job with the fans, and I think it would make the players play even harder than what they did. But what I did not like is the fact that you had the rising stars in the All-Star game. I didn't even know this. I didn't know this is what they were going for until I actually watched the game. You had the Dalton Connects of the world, and that's really the only dude I knew that played for that team. The kid who played in the dunk contest, he was on that team as well. But I didn't understand why you had them in the All-Star game playing against the OGs, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant, Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum. Even though he's not technically an OG, he's still the same age as a lot of guys in the league still. And you had a very old team. You had James Harden as well, and I think they had Jaylen Brown on there. Team Shaq. I think what the league was going for, they were trying to make them play harder, because it was as hard as that single game right there. It was semifinal game 2. It was the most competitive out of all the games of All-Star Weekend. And it is because they didn't want to get embarrassed. They had a chance to get knocked out by a team of rookies, essentially. That's what the Rising Stars are. They're a team accumulated of kids in their first, second year in the NBA. And it forced the team that was filled with Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum, and more, James Harden. It forced them to actually play hard. Like, you know how embarrassing it would have been on All-Star Weekend, getting put out by a bunch of guys who are not even in the NBA majority of the season. They're probably in G League. It would have been a bad look. That is something that I somewhat liked about it. It forced it to play, but I didn't like it at the same time because why do we have rising stars participating in the NBA All-Star Weekend in the big game? Supposedly supposed to be the big game. And the second thing that I did not like, why was there an intermission every 20 points? In every game, when they had the 20 points, you took an intermission, and then they had some 5 to 10 minutes of Kevin Hart. You had Mr. Beast. Something was going on outside of the game itself. And us fans were probably sitting here like, NBA, can we actually get to the game? Even Jason Tatum complained about it in his press conference. He's like, man, I think it was good. I like the format, but we can't be sitting here taking all these long breaks in between each game. It's not productive for us because it's like, dude, we're taking a 20-minute break in between the half? Like, bruh, we only played to 20. It took 5 minutes for them to get to 20 points. So they're just getting good and warm. So that is something I didn't like. I think the NBA, they put too much focus on that. You had people like Kevin Hart making comedy sketches with Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast had a guy out there, a kid who got $100,000, by the way. Shout out to that kid. Great job for him. I'm so proud and happy for him. You had that as well. And it's just, I think Adam Silver was part of his plan to try and just make it more appealing to the audience at home and to the audience itself in NBA All-Star. Because I'm not going to lie. When I first turned All-Star Weekend on Saturday night, those were a lot of empty seats. Again, it was 4 to 5 o'clock on a Saturday evening. But at the same time, there's a lot of missing seats Saturday during All-Star Weekend. At the start, and I think going towards the three-point contest and the slam dunk contest, you saw the seats fill up a little bit better, but it wasn't really astounding to the degree that you think it would be. So the NBA has a problem with their product. And if we're going to get to it specifically, Clay Travis, he's a very, I can say this pretty much, he is a right-winged conservative. He has his own media outlet called Outkick. And I know these numbers have to be true because they're not being fact-checked on Twitter. And he's had this to say, and it's true. Just 4.7 million people watched the NBA All-Star Game on Sunday. That's down over 80% from viewership in the past and down 13% over the last year. And then he went on a rant saying that LeBron and Adam Silver have destroyed the NBA brand. And then he had a subtweet here saying the 5 lowest rated NBA All-Star games since Magic and Bird have all happened in the past 5 years. This year's game nearly beats the lowest of all time, 4.6 from 2 years ago. NBA is a dead brand and needs a shock treatment. And again, I don't 100% agree with his outlook saying that LeBron and Adam Silver destroyed the NBA. The players themselves destroyed the NBA. This has nothing to do with Adam Silver, in my opinion. I think Adam Silver's done the best that he has. He's done the best he could to try and put the best product he can put out there for just the consumers, even though I wish he could do a little better job. He could change the game up to try to probably make it more entertaining. I think he's not done a great job with that. But at the end of the day, it's the players' fault. The players have been going out there, doing whatever they want to, not being competitive, and they don't care to win. They don't care about the audience. And that is the main problem, in my opinion, when it comes to basketball. And I think LeBron is a caveat to that. because he is the leader. He's the reason, he's the reason why most fans like us still tune into the NBA. You still have the KDs, you have the Steph Currys, you have the James Hardens, the Kawhi Leonards, LeBron James, Devin Booker, Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis. Once these guys are gone, specifically the big three and KD, LeBron, and Steph, nobody's going to watch the NBA. So do you put this on the shoulders of LeBron James? To a certain degree, but it's just the NBA as a whole. They've just done a horrible job. It's a bad product. It's a boring game to watch. It's not competitive. I think the one thing the NBA needs to do, which I think college does a great job doing right now, let them play a bit. Don't call a ticky-tack foul for everything. When I tell you, when I'm watching the Duke game, yes, I have the shirt on, you got bodies hitting the floor. Players are out of breath, about to die. It's scrappy. It's tough. That is something that the NBA don't quite have. It's something that you really don't see. They're just out there playing summer league basketball when they're out there just playing pickup in the summer. It's not competitive. And a lot of that probably has to do with they're playing 82 games a year, which is a lot, but they've done it in the past. It's been 82 games for the longest time. So if they did it back 20 years ago, they could still do it now. There's better just health resources out there, better ways to take care of your body. We see it with LeBron James. He spends millions of dollars on his body. Yes, does a lot of players have access to that type of money start now? Absolutely not. But at the same time, when you got stars like the Joel Embiids who can't stay healthy and stay on the court. We just got news today of Victor Wembanyama. He's going to be out for the rest of the season with a blood clot, which has nothing to do with that's outside of, him hurting a bone or a ligament or anything of that nature. That's a whole lot more serious matter and something he could not control. As a whole, that's more uncontrollable. But the NBA does have a problem with their brand. And you see it with the All-Star weekend. You see it with their ratings. Their ratings continue to drop every year. And it's caused, this All-Star game itself has caused a lot of drama, specifically with Vince Carter and Draymond Green and Jalen Rose on the TNT the broadcast Sunday. And they were just saying, just the things that the players are doing nowadays. And it's causing the fans to just slowly dissipate away from the game and watching the games. And it's causing the product to look bad. And I totally agree with them. But the NBA has a lot of work to do. And overall, I think All-Star Weekend was okay. It was a whole lot better than what it has been the last couple of days. Sorry for going off topic just a little bit. I just wanted to talk about just the NBA brand in general and their problem. And, it stems, a lot of that stems, is part of it is All-Star Weekend, but there's a lot more to it. But we're not going to get that far off topic. And like I said, overall, decent All-Star Weekend. I enjoyed myself fairly that Sunday night for a decent amount of time. And that's pretty much everything I pretty much have to say about that. Now, we're going to go ahead and talk about a certain aspect of All-Star Weekend. Since we're going to stay on this topic, I did write down I wanted to talk about something else, but we're just going to go ahead and lean into this. LeBron James. He got a lot of scrutiny Sunday because he was supposed to play in the All-Star game. And 40 minutes before game time, it was announced that he's not playing. Now, we're not just going to sit here and hold LeBron James accountable for this. Anthony Edwards also, as well, stated that he wasn't, at the last minute with the groin injury, said that he wasn't going to participate in All-Star Weekend. But LeBron James is the main problem with this, and we're going to read the article written by the NBA. LeBron James sits out of All-Star game, ending 20 years streak of starts in the All-Star game. The Lakers star said lingering foot and ankle discomfort hadn't healed to the point to where he thought it was for him to be comfortable enough to play on Saturday's event. LeBron James will not play in Sunday's All-Star game. The first time he has been selected but will not participate. The Los Angeles Lakers star announced that he would miss the tournament about 90 minutes before it was set to start with foot and ankle discomfort. He was set to play for Shaq's OGs, the team with Steph Curry and Kevin Durant and all them. He planned on playing Sunday, but he will soon rehab on Monday, and he is going to try and play yesterday, which he did play against the Charlotte Hornets. And there's a big problem with this. It was said that LeBron James didn't fly into All-Star Weekend until Saturday. It was either Saturday or early Sunday. So that puts it to perspective. LeBron James already knew that he wasn't going to play. So why didn't he just have the common courtesy to tell Adam Silver and the league, hey, I'm not going to play Sunday. You're still going to be named an all-star, and give somebody else that honor who rightfully deserved it. For example, Norman Powell. I'm using his name because a lot of people have brought him up, and his play has been fantastic this year. They say he's averaging 24 points a game. He's one of the league highs in a lot of categories. He has been a star this year for the Los Angeles Clippers. And he was one of the biggest snubs going into the All-Star game. Along with Trae Young and a lot of others, Kyrie Irving and Trae Young, they were able to get boosted up to the All-Star game because I think Anthony Davis and Giannis was the two who got out of it, and then they, Kyrie and Trae Young got that nod because Trae Young did come out with a tweet on Twitter, looking at his numbers, how did I not make the All-Star game? The All-Star game's rigged. He went on a whole soliloquy about that. But LeBron James, who is one of the best and greatest basketball players of all time, who is the leader for the NBA and its brand, don't a lot fly without LeBron James say so when it comes to just the financial side and the advertisement side of the NBA. He is the oldest active player to ever play. He's going on this is year 21 or 22. He's 40 years, just turned 40 years old. He's a top 5 player active right now that you can argue. And you would think that LeBron James would have the decency to tell the league and set the example, be unselfish, say, hey, I'm not going to be in the All-Star game, so why don't you just give Norman Powell that nod? But no, he shows up in street clothes for the media team photo, didn't put on his jersey. It was in street clothes in the game on the sideline, leaving the OGs to only have 7 players to play. A lot of people were speculating, saying that this was some sort of protest during the All-Star weekend, since a lot of people blame LeBron James for what All-Star weekend has become, because he's never participated in anything. He's never done a three-point contest. He's never done the skills challenge. He's never done the dunk contest when everybody has wanted him to be in the dunk contest for years. Michael Jordan participated in the dunk contest. Kobe Bryant participated in the dunk contest. Dominique Wilkins. A lot of the big name stars in NBA history who were one of the best dunkers in game, they participated in the dunk contest. It is as simple as, and he's never done any of it. He's never even done a three-point contest, which that's never been mostly his game to begin with. But it's a problem. And a lot of people were speculating that, yes, he's protesting that, and that's the reason why that he stayed. He didn't give up his spot, and it was a message to Adam Silver and the league. I don't know that to a certain degree. That's just conspiracy theories. We don't know that for sure. My thing is it's just super selfish on LeBron James's part. I think Norman Powell did deserve that nod along with some others, Devin Booker as well, but I think Norman Powell was that name, and it is a life-changing opportunity for a lot of players to have on their resume. He could have been an all-star. Just having that jersey, having that memorabilia, having the opportunity to possibly win the trophy. And depending on the team that he got on, his teammates would have probably let him keep that trophy. It's very just selfish in LeBron James's part. It's disappointing. You are the leader of the brand. You're one of the greatest basketball players to ever exist. People look up to you. Why don't you just be a class act? You knew you wasn't going to play in the game. Y'all, the starters were announced on Sunday. I think it was Sunday, or maybe it would have been that Friday before. You had a whole week and some change to tell the league office, I'm not going to play. We weren't going to crucify you for it. You've done it, did your due. You've put in your time. You did your due diligence. You're LeBron James. When you are gone, everybody is going to celebrate you. And if there's people out there who are going to just smear your name out into the that don't pay attention to them. You have been a gift to the game of basketball. Once you are gone, you, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, there's not going to be a whole lot for NBA fans to look forward to. So I think if you would have just had the common courtesy, you had a great excuse. I didn't even know it. You had to play a makeup game early on Wednesday compared to everybody else because you had to cancel the last game due to the fires in the Palisades. Sending prayers out to those who are still affected by that as well. It was a reasonable argument. Look, reasonable excuse, reasonable argument. We're not going to kill you, LeBron. It's okay. It's bad enough All-Star Weekend is bad already. And you just made it 10. It was a bad look for you, and it's a bad look for the league. Because it shows that to a certain degree, the league don't care about their players outside of the who's, because you should care about a guy like Norman Powell to get that nod. It makes you look like you respect the players. But at the end of the day, we had what happened. It wasn't a good look for LeBron James. He shouldn't be disciplined by the league for any reason. I just feel like it was just selfish. He should have took care of his other NBA brothers. And it's just a bad look. It shows that he doesn't care. He's near the age of his career. He doesn't really care about the brand. He doesn't care about the audience. And he doesn't care, again, I know it goes hand in hand. He doesn't care about the fans and the audience. But you had a fair argument. You were worried about winning a championship. You're worried about being healthy for the Lakers. Again, we would have got LeBron, but at the same time, just have some common courtesy. That's all we ask. That's all that matters. So, moving away from that, we are going to get into a very exciting topic that I know you guys have been waiting for me to talk about. Captain America, the Brave New World movie review. I think this is probably going to be the longest portion of the podcast. But giving an overall view, y'all know I've had a lot to say about this film. With all the political stuff about it, the marketing, I just feeling like Marvel really didn't love this movie coming out, the reshoots and all the drama behind this film. I have to be totally honest. I had a pretty darn decent time. I didn't have a great time. I had a okay to good time with the film. And I was shocked because going into the weekend, I saw the audience review. Well, I wasn't able to see the audience review to the day of. But early on in Rotten Tomatoes, it was like around like a 50-ish. It was in the 50s. I want to say it was 54 is when it first started. So it was already one of the lowest rated MCU films by the critics. But we all know, never go by the critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. Okay? There's a lot of garbage films out there that they give high reviews to. So you take the critics' review with a grain of salt, as well as the audience score, because the audience score right now is at 80%. As we can see from Rotten Tomatoes right here, as we speak right now, the film critic-wise is 49%, and the audience score has stayed the same around 81 to 80%. I think it's really pretty much going to sit there. Even the audience score, you look at it and be like, man, that's a high audience score. I don't have the resources to back it up, but I was watching the John Campea show. He's one of my favorite YouTubers to watch recently. I think he does a great job just dissecting the video. Sorry, I'm still getting used to the multi-camera setup. I'm over here looking at the wrong camera. So I've recently been watching John Campea. So obviously the audience score is one of the lowest in the whole MCU out of the 35 films. And obviously the tomato score as well is low. It's almost as low as Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think Ant-Man and the Wasp was a 48. So I think the critic score is just going to stay where it is at. Just giving a brief, again, overview. I enjoyed myself. Do I think this is one of the best films in the MCU? Absolutely not. Do I think it is a bottom 5 film? No, I don't think it is. I think it's somewhere in the middle. Is it the worst Captain America film out of all the Captain America films? Yes, it is. Because at the end of the day, I walked out of the theater with my girlfriend, and she said the same thing as well, and a lot of people beside me said it. This movie just missed some sauce. It really did. The potential was there. I could look at it and tell. So we're just going to go ahead and get into the likes. Anthony Mackie. He did a great job. I've been skeptical of Anthony Mackie going into this role, and I've said he's done a good job as the Falcon. I couldn't see him as a main actor. I watched I can't remember what it was called. I want to say it was the Winter Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I think was the name of it. I didn't really care for his acting in that. I don't think it was that good, but it worked because I like when he was on screen by himself and the parts where he was playing Captain America, it wasn't that good. We all know the politics in that show and how political it was. We're not going to get too far into that. But I think he was well when he was meshing with Bucky and, you know, his dynamic duo. That's where he meshed well in the film, Anthony Mackie. I walked away from this film saying that he'd done a fantastic job with what he was given. He felt like the leader in the film. I still don't think I don't want to say he don't feel like Captain America because I've known just Captain America to me is just Steve Rogers. It will forever be Captain America for me. Obviously, comically, does Sam Wilson get the shield? Yes. But I've made this argument for the longest time. Whenever I watch that movie with Batman Bad Blood and Dick had to take over the mantle of Batman when he was captured, he was Batman, but at the same time, he wasn't Batman. You know, when you think of Batman, you just think of just the dark, grim, broody. That's just not Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson's more the happy punchline. He's more like a Spider-Man type of vibe. So think of Spider-Man trying to play Batman. It doesn't mesh. There's not that big of a difference from Sam Wilkins. There's not that big of a characteristic gap between Anthony Mackie's Falcon and then Steve Rogers, you know, Chris Evans, Captain America in the MCU. It's not that big of a drastic difference as it is compared to that comparison. But just still, maybe just since I was a kid, I was young. When I saw Captain America, you see Chris Evans. You just see Chris Evans. Even when I watch just the regular animations, you see Chris Evans. You see his Captain America. You've seen him from the first film that he made all the way up to Endgame. You just will say, even if Sebastian Stan's Bucky took over the shield, it just wouldn't be the same. There's nothing like those stars and stripes with the headgear. There's just something about it. But I got to be honest, like I said, Anthony Mackie did a darn good job playing Captain America. Right now, do I think that he should lead the Avengers? Yes. Do I wish there was a better option out there? Because arguably, I would say if T'Challa was still alive, he should lead the Avengers easily. But I would rather right now have Sam lead the Avengers over Thor, definitely over Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, anybody else that you could think of, Ant-Man, Shuri. Anthony Mackie's Falcon or Captain America, he should lead the Avengers right now. He is the obvious choice. I thoroughly enjoy what he done in this film. And he is just a star. And he is what made the movie run. And if they would have gave him some better sauce in his fight scenes, if Anthony Russo and the Russo brothers could have got their fingers on this film, what could have been? Because that's what you walked out in this film saying. What could have been? Moving on to some other things I like. Harrison Ford. I thought he was really good. I thought he did a really good job of what he was given. A lot of people say that he was okay. I haven't really watched a whole lot of Harrison Ford stuff. I've never watched Indiana Jones. Please don't kill me for saying that. I've mainly only seen Harrison Ford in Star Wars. So obviously that's iconic. So seeing him play something like this, it was something new. I still wish the other guy would have played Thunderbolt Ross, but I did not know at the time he did sadly pass away a couple years ago, and that's the reason why that Harrison Ford got this role. So I didn't even know that. So knowing that information and seeing that what he gave, you got to say that I enjoyed it. I still love the older fella. Rest in peace. He was a great actor. He played Thunderbolt Ross to a T. He was just amazing with the way he acted. But he done a great job with what he was given. Even with his, I think where the film shined at was near the end when you had that conflict going on with him turning into Red Hulk and trying to resist turning into Red Hulk. And a plot that I didn't even know. He didn't even know that he was Red Hulk. Sorry, I want to keep this somewhat spoilish to a spoil review. So if you haven't watched the film, please move away from this portion of the video. He never even knew that he was the Red Hulk. I don't even think that's really a spoiler thing, but he just never knew. And that's where, we're not going to get deep into spoilers. I'll probably do that for a whole different video. But just seeing that dynamic and that just where the stakes got high, I think it was great. Also, the Falcon character. I liked him. A lot of people were going and complaining. They said he's annoying. He talks too much. He's aggravating. Me personally, I enjoyed him. I think he done a great job. I feel like his character was needed. He done the background work for Sam when he needed it. He hacked into stuff. His character was useful. He was needed. And I think having that dynamic, having the serious character along with the funky, funny character, I think it worked. I liked him, me personally. I thought he was very good. Pacing, story pacing, it was good. I wasn't bored. I was never just sitting there like, okay, hurry up, let's get this scene over with. I never got that. I was pretty much locked in the whole movie. I had a good time. I wasn't bored. And that is the most important thing when you're going into watching a movie. Just don't make your audience get bored. I've got to a lot of MCU movies over the last couple years. I get bored. Thor Love and Thunder, oh my God. I was just sitting there like, when's this movie going to end? I didn't have that feeling watching this. So I think the pacing was good. I was entertained. And I was pretty much locked into the movie. Now that I said what I liked, well, that's not all that I liked. I think there's some more things. But we're just going to go ahead and get to the dislikes. The leader was so bad. I don't know what was going on with him. First of all, hated the makeup. Did not like the makeup. I don't know if it was me, but something was off about his voice and his audio when he was talking. I don't know what it was. Something just felt funky about it. It just felt like he was talking from a different microphone that was on set. I don't know if you guys can, it's going to be hard when I understand what I'm saying. It's just because it made no sense just how his audio, not only that, I didn't like the makeup. I know a lot of people say that his plot made him not seem smart and it was dumb, but the actor had to do with what he was given. Did I like this perception of the leader? Absolutely not. And it was disappointing because they went with the guy from the old movie in 2008 in The Incredible Hulk. So, and there's a whole little argument to that side of the story. We'll get to that in a bit. But I didn't like the leader. Another terrible villain. And yes, the Red Hulk was not the villain in this movie. Which makes sense to us and why that happened and it turned out to be, which again, that makes sense. We knew that the leader was going to be cast in this movie, and you was thinking like, yeah, he should be the villain. It's just another dud of a villain. I was literally sitting here thinking, I don't think we've had a good villain since Thanos in any of these movies. You would have think Kang would have been good, but they dummied him down so bad. Obviously, they had to because it was Ant-Man. And outside of Shang-Chi and Shang-Chi's dad, we haven't had a good villain, like a powerful villain with a powerful presence. I was just sitting there saying, when is the leader going to be dead? Like, when is he going to be thrown away, put in jail, something? I got tired of him. I really did. I despised every scene that he was in. He just looked awkward. He didn't look like he needed to even fit in the film. I just didn't like it. Maybe it might have been the fella's acting. I don't know. I just found myself very much disliking that part of the film. Something else that I didn't like. They went cheap. Action was cheap. My gosh. If you guys saw that opening scene, I felt I was watching a CW show. The action was awful. And it got me scared to begin with because it was the opening act. And even the acting with Anthony Mackie, it was a little suspect there. And I got scared, but it got better over the duration of the film. And I was just sitting there like, bro, this action is terrible. I think they saved all the nice action for the end of the film with the fight against Red Hulk and then the battle in the Indian Ocean. Because those scenes were filmed great, action-wise, CGI-wise. But, and that puts into perspective on something that has been controversial and very, going along with the reshoots and everything else with the drama with that. So, right when Captain America was released, we got a very interesting quote that was posted by a Discussing Film from someone that was on set of the movie. A Marvel crew member says that Captain America Brave New World was allegedly the most tense Marvel set they worked on, and entire sequences were not shot completely. And entire sequences shot were completely cut. And this was quote what they said. I think everyone on the crew knew this is probably not going to be a good film. And you had the stuff going on with the reshoots, and even the director himself denied that to a certain degree. Captain America Brave New World director Julius Ona says the film did not go through multiple reshoots. We only did one period of additional photography, which is the same on all of these films. So we got conflicting reports. There were reports saying this film went through like 4 additional things of reshoots. They saying Marvel saw the finished product, was like, oh God, this looks like garbage. We got to reshoot some stuff. We got to add some stuff to spice this movie up. You could see it. The action was awful. I don't see how Kevin Feige and them looked at this film in the production room and just said, this film looks great. Because it didn't. I'm just talking about the action shots and towards the end of the movie. Obviously, there wasn't a lot of CGI shots that were used. Everything was pretty much in person, like no CGI used, no green screen, no blue screen. There wasn't really there was a whole lot of that in this film until mainly towards the end. I think everything else was pretty much shot on location. And specifically just with the opening scene, you saw the fight sequences. It's like, and when I'm editing this video, I know I can't use the footage that's in the movie, but if you just look at the fight scene just between the Winter Soldier, because they said that they were going for a Winter Soldier vibe. I saw it. I saw what that was what they were going for, but it just didn't nail. It didn't hit home. It really just missed the fight sequences. That's it. Because when I tell you this looks like something shot out of a CW, it looked like this was shot from somebody's backyard with no additional sauce in the production room. I don't know what VFX special artists they used to do the post-editing to spice this film up. Whatever the Russo brothers use in their films, Julius Ona, the director, should have called him and be like, you know what, Russo brothers? Who did y'all use for y'all's, the fighting sequences, choreography and the editing and all that? I need them on my team ASAP for this movie. Because that's what the film missed. And that's what I felt like the film was missing. It was missing that effect, the fight sequences. It really did. I feel like if the fight sequences were better towards the beginning of the film, and there's some, like the scene where they go into where the leader's at in his bunker and all that, those fight scenes, the film would have been a whole lot better and looked a whole lot crispier. You can just tell they went cheap. And you can really tell it in the final fight with the Hulk. My God, was that green screen bad. It was pretty darn bad. I cannot lie to y'all. Did not look good. I even had a dude beside me was sitting there like, man, do you see that CGI? I'm like, yeah, dude, I see it. Was not good. Very poor shot. But the fight itself, with Red Hulk was shot very well. It was clean. It was smooth. You could just tell they were using blue screen in the background because it just looked bad. It looked bad on a visual point of view. Entertainment point of view and action point of view, it was filmed very good. Along with the Indian Ocean scene was the best part of the movie. It was the best part of the movie because the stakes were high. This is when, Thunderbolt Rock, Harrison Ford fighting the leader, him trying to turn him into the Hulk in the middle of the sea to try and embarrass him in the treaty, get that exposed. And just that portion of the movie, the fight scenes, even just the blue screen, the CGI, all that, it looked fantastic. I just think that Marvel didn't put enough of money in this film because I think they were scared they wasn't going to get their money back. I mean, I think the budget for this was $286 or $186. I can't quite remember. It's cheap. And I think they saved all their money up for that Indian Ocean fight. And they just said, screw everything else. We're not going to spice nothing else up. Because right now, let's look at the budget for Captain America Brave New World. So the budget was $180 million. The budget was $180 million. So that was right. So it was around, I think the budget was then around $186 million. Let's look at the budget for Winter Soldier. The budget for Winter Soldier was $170 million. Really? And it looked that bad, and it looked that good compared to the Brave New World. Obviously, with Winter Soldier, they really didn't have to do any special effects outside of the helicarrier and things like that. Everything else was probably was put towards the fight scenes. Man, that's crazy. So the budget for Winter Soldier, I'm curious. Let's see what the budget was for Civil War. Okay, yeah, that was a beefier budget. You had $250 million budget. But this is when Marvel was at its peak, and, they were able to spend this type of money on the films. So at the end of the day, they went cheap on this film. And it is sad because this film had a lot of potential. You could see it in the film and walking out of the movie. You saw it. You're just like, dang, this film's just missing something. Just a little pinch of sauce. I don't know where the money went to. I guess maybe they put it all into the Hulk. I don't know. Just a little bit more sauce. Just a little bit. Specifically with the fight scenes. If the fight scenes were good, we could have excused the green screen at the end of the film. I don't know if just the CGI team, the special effects team that they hired was not as good as obviously whoever the Russos had. Again, I don't know. But to get away from that, overall, if I had to rank the film from 7 out of 10, I would give it a 7. I really enjoyed myself. Given all the dislikes, at the end of the day, I was not bored. I think the acting was pretty good outside of maybe a couple people, as I said, didn't care for the actor for the leader. The girl who's supposed to be, was General Ross's secretary or extra person in arms. That girl there, didn't care for her. She was okay. I think I preferred her to be more of the butthole and the secretive type of role that she was playing in the beginning in the film instead of the second part where she was the second half of the film where she was trying to be this girl boss, like, oh yeah, I'm a Black Widow and she's kicking it. I didn't care for that part for her. So acting was great, along with the guy who played I don't remember the character's names, the African American super soldier. He was another great aspect of the film. I think he done an exceptional job with his acting as well. And that's my takeaway. I think it's a good film. It gets me excited for Fantastic Four, and I'm just interested overall in what is Marvel going to do with the Avengers? Because we only got 2 films left until the Avengers movie. Where is Thor? Where is Doctor Strange? Where is Iron Man? Well, not Iron Man. Where is Spider-Man? Where's where are these characters at getting prepared for Doctor Doom? I don't know. Where's Shang-Chi? We don't know. So I'm interested to see how they're going to just deal with that. And then we only got Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four left. So I don't know. I'm going to be interested to see. And again, good movie. Okay to good movie. Not great. 7 out of 10 if I had to rank it. And is it something that I would watch ever again? Sadly, no. I just feel like there's... me personally, if I had to watch a movie, it's got to be a banger. And Captain America Brave New World was a banger. It left you wanting more and sadly just wanting more and wanting the film to be better. Because again, I know I trashed the film, but I wanted the film to be better. I wanted the film to be good. Even with all the politics and the drama, I wanted the film to do well. I just feel like we need to get back to making great movies, specifically for superheroes. And Captain America had the potential, but it just didn't hit the spot. And it reflects on the audience score and it reflects on the critic score. And that is all I have to say about that. Shout out to Anthony Mackie, done exceptionally well. And hopefully Marvel can build upon this movie and continue to get away from its mediocrity. And look forward to making some powerhouses, starting with Fantastic Four, a crew who has been deprived on the big screen for a long time. So it's going to be interesting to see how Marvel treats that. And what they're going to do to set up the Avengers Doomsday. So moving on into our next topic, we are going to get right back into some sports. So I've been wanting to talk about this ever since it happened. Dak Prescott has to go running his mouth yet again. So this is the Eagles coming off of winning the Super Bowl. And I think this was at one of his these charity events for the Dallas Cowboys or maybe one of Dak's. I don't know. He has some very interesting things to say about the Philadelphia Eagles, and we're going to react to it right now.
I mean, I feel like we compete with the Eagles and beat them for the most part when we played them. I don't want to say check the record when they're the guys holding the trophy right now. So credit to them. They've earned it and they deserved it by all means. But, yeah, very close, especially when you even watch the NFC game, the NFC Championship. And those two teams that we battle against each and every year a couple of times. And as I said, feel confident about we've gotten a better part each and every time. To see it in such a dominating fashion, credit to them. It's our turn and it's on us. All right.
So there was Dak Prescott's comments. Is Dak Prescott right? He is. Let's just not sit here and act like he is. Whenever they play the Eagles, they play well. A lot of that has to do with divisional games. To a certain degree, your divisional games are going to be your competitive games. You play them twice a year. You play them every single season. He's been with the Dallas Cowboys for going on 10 years or about to be year 11. I think this might be year 10. But he knows the Eagles. The Eagles know him. And when they stack up against each other, they either beat the Eagles twice or they trade. Obviously, this year, the Eagles beat them both games, but Dak Prescott was absent for one of them, I think, or he might have been absent for both. I think he was absent for both. But even if Dak Prescott was at the quarterback position, they wouldn't have won. And that is the problem with this comment. They just won the Super Bowl, bro. We get it. Are you right to a certain degree? Yes. Yes, you're right. You beat the Eagles. But a term very close should be used towards beating them in the postseason. If you mean very close to winning a championship, bruh, that ain't happening at all. The Eagles just won the championship, the Super Bowl. Something that y'all have not done in 30 years, about to be 30 years. You haven't been to an NFC championship game as well in 30 years. Dak Prescott, you have a 2-5 record in the playoffs. I think 3 of those losses are due to the San Francisco 49ers. We get it. You believe that you're close to the Eagles. You are close to the Eagles when it comes to beating them in the regular season. But when it comes to the postseason, if I was a betting guy and this Philadelphia Eagles team, compared to the ones in the past, the last couple of years, especially maybe like the last 2 years, I'm putting my money on the Eagles, bro. They have a better coach. They have a better culture. They have the better running back. They have the better O-line. They have the better D-line. They have the better DBs. Have the better linebackers. Have better wide receivers. And right now, after the Super Bowl, they have a better quarterback. So, what position do you have that's better? Safety? I don't even think that either. Dallas's position group does not beat the Eagles or look better than the Eagles in any fame or fashion right now, as well as in the past. It's true. I understand what Dak's trying to say, and he's been getting a lot of scrutiny for it. But at the end of the day, we've had our opportunities. We've came up short. Dak Prescott has been the reason for that, for the most part. He's got to wear it. And is he supposed to go up there and say, yes, we're not close at all, we suck? Absolutely not. He's taking up for his team. He's taking up for his teammates. But this is the problem with Dak Prescott. He's good on the camera. He says all the right things. Great guy. The person you want leading the franchise. But the one component that is very important, that is far more important than the other stuff, in my opinion. On Sunday, Monday, Thursday, and in the playoffs, are you ready to play and win the game? Are you going to be the reason why we win the game? During the regular season, for the most part, that's true. But come playoff time, he becomes a deer in headlights. The moment's too bright. He's not clutch. He becomes mediocre. He becomes a shell of himself. He turns into a pumpkin. Shout out to First Things First. That's the truth when it comes to Dak Prescott. So when he makes a comment like this, it's a bad comment. Do I understand what he says? Yes. Is he right to a certain degree? Yes. But in this only aspect. Only in the regular season. Not in the playoffs. Not when it comes to winning championships. Because guess what? You're not close enough. You want to know why? Number one, you don't have the position players. You don't beat the Eagles in any of the positions. You don't have the culture. You don't have the clutch gene. You don't have the dog. I argued in four components is a whole lot more important than being a classy quarterback, being America's team, just worrying about just getting your money and just drama. That's the Cowboys. The Eagles have drama, yes, but I think Nick Sirianni had that leader and mentality about him to get that under wraps and under control before the season started. The Cowboys are not good at that. There's drama every week. Jerry Jones is saying something. Micah's saying something. Dak's saying something. CD's saying something. Defensive coordinator's saying something. Any of the defensive coaches are playing. The coaches themselves are saying something. The beat writers and the reporters are stirring up some drama. It's always something in Dallas. You don't hear about that in Philly. The only thing we heard in Philly this season is the crap with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. That is it. We never heard questions about the coaching staff. We never heard questions about the defense not being good enough. Did we hear questions about the offense not being good enough? Yes. But they didn't cause that to be, the Eagles didn't retaliate upon that and make these quotes like, oh yeah, y'all don't believe it. They know how to handle the drama. Jeffrey Lurie don't say a word. Hasn't said a word all season. But you're going to hear Jerry Jones on the radio show on 105.3 The Fan every Tuesday. This culture don't care about winning. And that is the knock on them. And it is going to continue to be the knock on them for the foreseeable future. It's not going to change. Again, is Dak Prescott right? He's only right in the aspect of during the regular season, they're beatable. We can beat them. We're close to them in the regular season. But when it comes to winning championships and winning in general, we're not close. Every year, in my opinion, we get farther and farther and farther behind the eight ball. And the way it's coming, in the next topic we're going to talk about, it's not going to change for the foreseeable future. And that's all really I have to say. So moving on into our final topic of the podcast. Again, thank you guys for joining me. We got a very interesting quote from, arguably, my opinion, the leader of the team, Micah Parsons. So, Micah had this to say. He wants the Cowboys to be, quote unquote, aggressive in free agency. He said, and I quote, "I don't want to sit back and just watch other people build and build and build. And we stay the same. So we definitely need some call to action." Sadly, Micah Parsons, the Cowboys ain't going to make no moves. It ain't going to happen. It hasn't happened in years. The last free agent I think that we got that had a big name was Deion Sanders, Amari Cooper via trade. But actually signing a free agent? Guys, comment down below. Just comment in general. Who is the last big free agent splash that the Cowboys has ever got? Big name, big player. I don't know. I guess maybe Amari Cooper, but he don't count because he was a trade. What player have they signed from an outside team, giving them money to come play for the Dallas Cowboys? I can't think of one. Can y'all? Can y'all think of one? I can't. So, in a year to where Stephen Jones stated that the Eagles' way and the Rams' way of doing business isn't good enough, it isn't sustainable, guess what, Micah? One of them teams won the Super Bowl, and the other one was in contention for the Super Bowl. Arguably would have been able to win it if they were healthier. And guess what? Your owner and GM says every year, it just ain't enough of cap space. You can't sign all these good guys. We just gave Dak $160 million. Just gave CD $40 million, $39, $38 million a year. We got to pay you too, Mike. I got to give you an extension. Dak Prescott's cap hit is horrible coming up this season, along with CDs. And that's going to give them an excuse to not want to pay anybody. But there is something interesting. And Micah Parsons commented on this. Something interesting happened in the NFL yesterday. So, the NFL informed teams today that the 2025 salary cap will be $277 to $281 million. An increase of $22 to $26 million from last year, and was beating what most executives was anticipating. So Micah commented on this, and he was like, "Oh yeah," pretty much. I'm paraphrasing. He was like, "Oh yeah, we there's no excuse," pretty much. But guess what, Micah? Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones are going to get 1,000,001 excuses to the reason why they're not going to sign anybody. Get prepared, my man. Nobody's coming to Dallas. There's a whole lot of team needs we need to address. And they came out with an article today. Dallas is not going to spend money for a free agent running back. That puts it to perspective. They're probably going to draft one. So guess what? They're not signing T. Higgins or none of the big name wide receivers in the market. They need O-linemen. They need defensive tackle. They need D-line. They're not going to spend money for that. They need quarterbacks. Not going to spend money for that. Need safeties. Not going to spend money for that. They're going to find an excuse not to pay people. It is what it is, Micah. I'm sorry. You want the Dallas Cowboys to be aggressive in free agency, but it's not going to happen. You are going to do as you said. You're going to sit back and you're going to watch people build, and you're going to stay the same. Does Micah Parsons have the chance to be the call to action, as he says, and convince Jerry Jones to spend some money? I think he does. I think at the end of the day, when he goes up for his contract negotiations, he is the only player on the team that can go up to Jerry Jones. He has that power, and I think he has that hold on Jerry Jones and the Cowboys organization to sit there and say, we need to spend some money, Jerry. Stop being cheap. Get uncheap and let's spend some money. I'm going to sign my deal, and I'm going to sign my extension, and I'm going to take a pay cut, which he has stated that he could potentially take a pay cut. So he's the only person on Dallas Cowboys that can say, Jerry, I will take the pay cut, and let's pay other people. Let's build a roster. Let's build a better roster. Let's be a better team. Let's go for this thing. Let's be all in, as you have stated that you want to be all in. but I am sorry to sadly mistake Micah Parsons. Jerry Jones is naive. He's narcissistic. He wants to win his way, and he will continue to do things his way. He's not going to relinquish his GM position. He's going to continue to not sign guys. And he's going to worry about hitting in the draft. And guess what? We haven't done that either. The Eagles just hit on the draft. They've drafted Jalen Carter, Quinyon Mitchell, and Cooper DeJean the last 2 seasons. They hit in free agency with Zach Bond and some other key guys. Drafted Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith. They've drafted all these guys. Went out and got Saquon. Traded for A.J. Brown. Drafted Devontae Smith. Drafted their O-lines. The Cowboys haven't hit in the draft in a while. Since Micah Parsons, we've not had a good draft pick. One that sticks out, game changer. Especially our last 2 first-round picks. They've been terrible. So I don't trust that Jerry Jones is going to draft well. Will McClay and the guys, I don't think they're going to draft well. I think their first-round pick should be a wide receiver. And they should get a Namarion Hampton or Trayvon Henderson in the 2nd or 3rd round. But they're not going to do it. They're probably going to get a running back first round. I think they're going to get Alshon Jeffrey. But I'm sorry, Micah. This is just the way the Cowboys do business. They've never been ones to be heavy hitters of free agency. They never have. And as long as Jerry Jones is the owner, they never will. It's a sad thing to say, but that's just how it is. And it's never going to change. And that is pretty much all I have to say about that. Again, I want to take this time to thank you guys for joining me for this episode of the Alpha Podcast. Again, excuse my just voice. I know it was bad throughout the whole video. And I've been going through a sickness, but I thank you guys for joining me. I thank you guys for your continued support on the podcast, the view time, all that has been fantastic. And I am looking forward to the future and making some additional additions to the setup. Thank you guys for joining me. If you enjoyed this episode of the Alpha Podcast, be sure to hit that like button on the video and the podcast. Hit that subscribe button and to tap that notification bell to get notified when all my videos go live. Be sure to look at the link in the description to get the links to the Alpha Podcast on Spotify as well as Apple, and the links to my playlist to get all my comic book reactions, trailer reactions, comic book podcasts, sports, and everything else that I provide on my YouTube channel. Again, guys, thank you guys for joining me. I thank you guys for, again, the great support on the podcast in the last couple of days. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys on the next video and iteration of the podcast itself. Be sure to tell somebody you love them, take care of each other, and I love you guys so much. Peace, love, and positivity always, y'all. See ya.